Morning, children. Lesson number 13, natural vegetation. Lesson number 13, natural vegetation. So far we have completed 12 lessons. Now we'll move on to the 13th lesson, that is natural vegetation. Children, what do you mean by natural vegetation? What do you mean by natural vegetation, children? Okay, so natural vegetation, of course, yeah. Natural vegetation means the trees which grow on their own. The trees which grow on their own is known as natural vegetation, without the help of the human, which grow by themselves. So this is called natural vegetation. It can be anything, any trees. It can be a forest or the greenery, all types of plants, small trees or big trees, whatever must be. So the trees which grow on their own without human help, so called natural vegetation. So natural vegetation can understand in our surroundings. It can be our society or places wherever we are staying, or it can be in my place. So we find many types of trees. Many types of trees, even plants. It can be small plants or big trees, and tall or short. Isn't it, children? So this all known as natural. Then you know almost what is forest. So forest, when we say word forest, so immediately on everyone's mind it comes forest means very thick forest. The wild animals will be living. The number of trees will be there, big trees, huge trees, and even some of the medicinal trees will be there. So many things we'll imagine. So of course our imagination is correct. So forest means of course it is very thick. We cannot enter. We can just enter in the entrance, but we cannot go very far in the forest because trees are very huge. So as you enter the forest, we feel very dark because of the tall trees, huge trees. The branches will be spread out like anything from one to another. So the forest means it is the thickest forest with the number of not only number, plenty of trees. So that is usually we say forest. So forest is useful. Forest is useful not only for a betterment of human being or the dwelling place for the wild animals. Not only for that, but a forest which brings heavy rainfall to the places. So even sometimes we find very good medicinal trees in the forest. There are number of trees you will find in the forest which will be used for the medicine. So forest means of course we should have a forest, very good forest, where we can breathe very fresh air. Because of the forest we can have plenty of animals, varieties of animals. So that is what the forest means. Okay, children. So now one by one, paragraph by paragraph, we will study what is natural vegetation. So the introduction. In our surroundings we find many types of plants, small trees and tall trees. We have seen forest as well as in which we find many types of plants and trees. So in our surroundings we find many types of plants, small trees and tall trees. So this is of course we find as you travel, as you go, or as we live. So we find many trees, many types of plants, small trees and even tall trees. So beautifully formed, very good place. You feel to be there. So such a beautiful trees and all. So even we have seen many foresters. We have seen, you might have visited some of the forest, the tourist. Sometimes we go to Dandeli, Yellapur and this Chikmagalur and Kudremukh. So these are all very good forest as far as I know. So very good forest where the wild animals live, where wild animals live. So even if you go this side, the Dandeli side, even there are people those who live, because that is the area which is only meant for the cultivation of arcanet and the supari, that is pan, and bananas and pepper and other things. So people require the plenty of places. So almost the people live in a forest. So because I have seen the area, so there are people those who live in middle of the forest, but not very interior, but there are people those who live along with their lands. So we feel very happy, very pleasant, the weather is everything. So this is what about the trees and all. So now next, water forest. Water forest. Forests are vast areas of land covered by plants and trees which grow on their own. The forests are vast areas of land covered by plants and trees which grow on their own. So of course forest, it is not a human beings have been created or human beings have been planted, not at all. So forest areas are vast areas. Vast means such a big areas across together. So that is the land covered by only plants and trees which grow on their own. So these are the trees you can see here in the picture, the next picture here. So these are the trees. You can see the size of the trees of the not the same. So any types of, it can be a useful or may not be useful, but the trees grow on their own. No one waters, no one plants any plants here, but they grow on their own. So there will be bushes, the small trees, the big trees, or the huge trees which are stem, or this one is very big and large. So they grow on their own. So these are called forest. So forest which occupies the vast area of land only covered by the plants and the trees, with the huge trees, big trees, so on their own. So this is all about the introduction and the forest. So dear children, so most of you must have visited as a visiting places to the forest areas and all. So you might have better understanding those who have seen the forest. Those who have seen the forest. Forest is really a wonderful place. Because of this forest, many varieties of animal we can see in India, only because of the forest. Because wild animals will never come to the city or town or to the places, but they love to stay in a forest where they will find their own food. So this is the forest. So next, then what is natural vegetation? Then what is natural vegetation? Of course we saw the natural vegetation The plants and trees which grow on their own without human help form natural vegetation. Then what is natural vegetation? Means we call it natural vegetation. What is that? Are someone is planting? Are we planting some plants? No. So but the plants and the trees which grow on their own any types, it can be a good trees or the bad trees, whether it gives very poisonous fruits or the good fruits, sweet fruits or sour fruits, never mind, but the trees or the plants will grow on their own without any help of a human being. So that is called natural vegetation. So you can see here in the picture, the water is there, these are the tree. Do you think this anyone has planted such a big tree? Do you think? No, children. See, you can see here the same trees have been lined here. So you can see the rocks, water and the trees. These are all natural vegetation. Wherever they want, they grow. Not only in a forest, closer by forest, there will be water, there will be river, there will be stream. So wherever they want, they grow. They have no proper fixed place. They have no proper made place for that, but they grow wherever they want. In a sense, they grow. They don't even know where they are growing, what they are growing, what they are, but just they grow on their own. So this is called natural vegetation. Okay.